All right. Good afternoon. I'm Hannah Perkey. I'm CEO of Evelo team with Keller Williams Realty. And I have Bob Woerner, one of our top agents here with me today. And we are back with our monthly market update. I'm just really letting you know what's going on in the market and just being your local resource here. So let's start. We're going to talk about the September housing market. So Bob, tell me what happened locally here in September.
Yeah, let's just get jump right in like we do each month and get started. So first slide up is always that median sales price. So end of December we ended at 297.7. Um, Almost a percent over last year, but let's call that flat with a 0.9% increase. So doing a little bit of up and down like we normally do in the fall. Next up is that median days on market. So we ended September at 14. The percentage up seems pretty big because we were at 10 last year, so that's a 40% jump. But again, relative, right, from a week and a half to basically 2 weeks. But we're seeing that a little bit more in the market, and we tend to see that a little bit more in the fall and winter. The numbers will kind of pick up, and then they'll kind of come back down a little bit in the spring and winter. So we'll continue to monitor that. Next up is that month's supply of inventory. So again, if you've been with us before, a balanced market is considered about a 4 to 5 month supply of inventory. Last time we were even at 4 months was all the way back in July of 2016. So it's been a while since we've been there, but for most of the pandemic, you can kind of see here, we were well under a month for about 3 or 4 years in a row. So we've slowly been ticking back up. We had a couple points last year where we went above 2 months as well. And we're right there again for September, which is up a little bit over where we were last year when we were at 1.8. And then the last slide in this little batch here is kind of that we always look at the percent of list price received on average. So on average through our entire market area, we were still at 98.3%. So again, as always, that means some homes are still selling for over list price, in some cases considerably over list price, and some homes are still selling for under list price. But I'd say, right there, that kind of average of them is at 98.3% currently.
Okay. Very good. I love seeing that and just, seeing the trends and helping people understand, right, like what should they expect on the buy or sell side. So you're talking a little bit about days on market and how that's been shifting. What other conditions have you been following to look at the shifting market?
Yeah, so some of the other things we started tracking a little bit into this process. One, first up here is that active inventory. So I think we mentioned last month, might have been the first month we were above 5,000 in a little while. So we've stayed above 5,000 units of active inventory, which is kind of a, again, drawing back to 2020, 2019, we've pretty much been under 5,000 that entire time, with the exception of the last couple months. So that put us up 14% year over year on active inventory front. Closed sales, we always kind of like to track that. So closed sales were actually up a little bit over last year, and that's in part probably because we have a little bit more inventory available. So if we have more inventory, we're probably going to have some more closed sales. So we ended the month at 2835, which was up almost 4% year over year. The number of new listings for the month was down a little bit, down 3.8%, but pretty consistent with where we were last year. We ended the month at 3239, where last year we were at 3368. And then the last one we like to take a look at in this batch, it kind of goes back to that average list to sales price ratio. We like to take a look at the number of homes that are closing above list price. As I mentioned on that other slide, some sell for more, some sell for less, some sell for right at. So we've seen this number coming down pretty consistently for the last few months. So for September, 16.8% of the total home sales in our market ended above list price, but that is down 22% year over year. So we're seeing that number start to come down. So more sales are closing at or near list price versus the number that are closing over. But again, it is still so situational dependent, right? Definitely dependent on price point. The old adage, location, location, location. And so there are definitely still some areas where I'd say the norm is over list price, but we are seeing the number that are selling over list price and then how far over list price they might be selling for starting to slowly trickle down from some of the highs we've seen in the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're thinking about selling as a team, that's one of the things we're going to look at, right? Is specifically for your home and comparables, what to expect in there so we can pull that data Bob's looking at kind of overarching for us. And I think that's really helpful. And just knowing that we can narrow that down for your home specifically. All right. Interest rates. I think that's always the favorite question. How are interest rates right now?
Yes, I think we look at this big like primary mortgage market survey that comes out once a week, and I think we're kind of maybe stuck in between 2 points from where we were last month and where we are now. So they are at 6.12%. That was the average effective last Thursday. The data gets released on Thursday, so they didn't have today's data updated yet. Last month when we did this, we were at 6.35%, so we are down about 0.23% from then. But we've seen, as we kind of look at them on a daily basis from some of our different lender partners getting, email updates. And so I think we'll probably end this week above the 6.12. We'll probably be a little closer to where we were last month. And we're just kind of in this little ebb and flow. I mean, the good news is, the promising news is that this time last year, we were at pretty darn close to 8%, high sevens. So we are down considerably from where we were at that time. And even if we look into earlier in this year, like in the spring, we had creeped back up close to 7. So, I think we'll see some of this moving in the 6 to 6.5% probably going on for at least the next few months. And then we'll see where things shake out from there. But the good news is we're definitely on a downward trend, and in particular from where we were at this time last year.
Okay, awesome. All right. Any final thoughts for us on the state of the market?
Yeah, I always kind of try to find something to end with. And so this time, I think every time I sit down for a listing appointment, it's always like, what's the best time of the year to sell? And there's no direct answer to that, right? At the end of the day, the best time to sell is the time that works for you in your particular situation, right? Homes sell all year long. Yes, there's a greater number of homes that sell between March and July every year in our market. But this is a perfect example, right? During the fall months, serious home buyers are definitely eager to kind of get settled into their new home, hopefully be in there before the holidays or right after the holidays and before the winter weather really kicks in, since we are a 4-season climate, right? There might be a couple weeks within that time frame that we might want to think about maybe not going active that week, or maybe not, when we have 10 inches of snow on the ground and it's minus 20. But at the end of the day, with the interest rates being a little bit lower, and those home buyers kind of being incentivized to get in their home before the holidays really start to kick in this year. If you've been on the sidelines and you've been thinking about it, the fall months can definitely be a great time to list and get sold.
Well, I feel like for us as a team, this is kind of the last hurrah, right? We know the timing's really good as we wrap up the year to get on the market, and people are ready to move right now. So I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you for prepping all that data. We hope that was helpful to you if you're listening in. If you have any questions about any specific data points in there, you can message us. Bob's happy to answer those questions for you. And we hope you have a great afternoon. You can reach us at info@eveloteam.com or 317-863-9011. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.